In example 4, we're given that the cost of going to a local car show may be represented by the equation y equals 69x plus 25, where x is the number of people in a group attending. And then we're asked to graph the equation and interpret the slope and the y-intercept. So to graph, we'll go ahead and just make a table. So if x is 0, y is 25. So there's our y-intercept as well. And if x is 1, we have 69 plus 25, which is going to be 94. And then we'll go ahead and skip ahead to 5. And 69 times 5 is 345. So that will give us an idea of where we need to graph. And again, in a problem like this, it doesn't make sense. We're not going to have a negative number of people. So there's no point in having the negative coordinates for x or y. So we'll go ahead and sketch x here and y here. And it looks like when x equals 5, y equals 345. So let's go ahead and we'll do a scale of x. We'll have each tick mark represent 1. And 5, it's 345. So we probably want the scale to be fairly large on the y-axis. And we'll go ahead and make each one of these represent, let's say, 100. So at 0, we're looking at 25, which is going to be right about here. And I'll go ahead and switch colors to make it more apparent where the points are. So there's our 0, 25, 1/4 of the way up to the first tick mark. At 1, we're at 94, which is going to be just under 100. And at 5, we're at 345. So right about here would be 350. Or actually where I made that tick mark was a little bit low, so it's probably about 345. So we'll go out to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up to our 345. And then we should be able to graph a line through all 3 points as long as my scale isn't totally inaccurate. And we're asked to interpret also the slope and the y-intercept. So we're looking at if x is number of people and y is the total cost, then the y-intercept, so we'll go with that first, y-intercept, that represents some type of initial cost to get in. So we'll call that, admission cost for any group. It could be an administrative fee, processing fee. That's just a per order. So, maybe we should put order cost for any group. And then the slope represents, y over x, which is the cost per person. And that's why I changed the admission to order cost for any group, because the cost per person is technically the actual admission cost for a person. So again, to plot the line itself, make a table, at least 2 points. I suggest going with 3. That way you can be sure that you didn't mess up on one of those points. And then graphing, just make sure you have a correct scale, that everything's going to fit on there, that it's going to be an accurate scale. Like if we would have tried to make this 1, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. The line would have looked flat because we wouldn't have been going anywhere. And then for the y-intercept, just look at some valid explanation of what it could mean. In this case, it's just no matter how big or small your group is, you're paying $25 for your group. And then the slope is cost per person. That's easy to tell as long as you know what x and y represent. It's just y over x.